The idea is you can have whatever you want, but you have to figure out what it is. It has to be realistic, and you have to figure out what it is. What do you want from your family? What do you want from your friends? How are you going to educate yourself? What do you want for your career? How are you going to use your time outside of work? How are you going to handle drugs and alcohol and other temptations like that? How are you going to keep yourself mentally and physically healthy? And these are open questions, like you get to answer them. It's okay, so now develop a vision. What's your life going to be like in 3 to 5 years? So you write it down. Then we do something else, which is, okay, your bad habits and your resentment and your bitterness and all of that, your procrastination gets completely out of hand, and you auger down, and you're in your own personal version of hell in 3 to 5 years. What does that look like? Well, everyone knows that. It's like everyone can look into the future and think, well, if I keep going on this dark path, this is where I'll end up. Well, then you've got little hell outlined for yourself to run away from, and you got a little heaven outlined for yourself to run towards, and then you're motivated. Because sometimes, you know, you're just hopeful. I would like a good thing to happen. It's like, yeah, but you know, I'd like to drink half a bottle of whiskey tonight too. It's like, so which is it going to be? Well, just being hopeful about the future might not be enough, but then you think, oh, I see, like, there's that little hell thing that I outlined that's waiting for me. And maybe I'm afraid of taking the next step forward because it's demanding and challenging. It's like, yeah, I'm afraid of that, but I'm way more afraid of where I might end up if I don't get my act together. And people should be. That's why there are conceptions of hell in so many religions. It's like, hell's a real place. Whether it's eternal, that's a whole different question. Whether it's waiting for you in the afterlife, that's a whole different question. But if you've never met anyone in hell, you haven't lived very long. You haven't had your eyes open.
Yeah, it's undeniable. That feeling of total, complete misery is undeniable. And
yeah, especially when it's compounded by the fact that you know you did it to yourself.
Yes.
That's the real fun. That's the real fun part. It's like, I'm having a bitch of a time and I richly deserve it.
This is another, I mean, this is a giant part of being a human being. And instead of identity politics and right versus left, I think these right versus left battles, oftentimes what they are is simply the battleground for the conflicts in your own mind.
There's evil in the world of all sorts, and some of it's the evil in other people. And some of it's the evil in your brother's heart. But the part of it that you can really do something about, that's the malevolence in your own heart. You can actually do something about that. And that's actually way more useful than you think. So, because if you can face it in you, then you start to understand it. And that also makes you strong enough to identify it and to fight it when you see it in the external world. Plus, you don't do any harm. It's like there's lots of people all over the world going out and doing reprehensible things. And you might say, well, you should go out and protest against them. Then sometimes you should. But most of the time you should think, where am I falling short of the ideal? My own ideal. Doesn't have to be one that someone puts on you. Where am I less than I should be? Where am I bitter? Where am I making the world a worse place than it has to be? Like, you ask yourself those questions, you'll be in for a big shock. Say, well, what would happen if you stopped doing that? Like, stop saying things that make you weak. Stop telling lies that you know to be lies. Stop doing things you know to be useless and counterproductive. Aim high. Adopt some responsibility. And then see what the hell happens. And one of the things that I've also been telling people, informing people about, is the idea that life isn't a game. It's a series of games. And the right ethic is to be the winner of the series of games. And part of that means you have to learn how to be a good loser, because you're not going to win every single game.
But you also have to embrace those losses as learning experiences. And the people that have never lost are afraid of losing. They're afraid of learning. You're afraid of that feeling, that terrible feeling that you get from losing is so beneficial.
Let's say that you could pick you can pick your level of competition in life to some degree. Okay, so let's say you pick a level of competition where you're always winning. It's like, well, all that means is you've picked the wrong level of competition.
Yes.
Because, you know, like, let's say you're a grandmaster chess player and all you do is play amateurs, and every night you go home and congratulate yourself on what a genius you are because you just stomp these people left, right, and center. It's like, you're not a genius, you're a dimwit.
Right.
What you should be doing is playing people who are beating you, like, well, as much as you can tolerate.
Right.
So maybe that's 40% of the time, maybe it's 60% of the time. But that way, because to be a winner, you want to be disciplined, you want to know what you're doing, and then you want to be on the edge where your skills are being developed. And if you're going to be on the edge where your skills are going to be developed, you're at a place where losing is always a possibility, because otherwise you're not pushing yourself beyond your current capacity.
I was told I was a fool for leaving IBM. Been told that I was a fool for moving to New York. I was a fool for moving to LA. I was a fool for managing Steve Harvey. I gave up a successful stand-up comedy career. I've been told I was a fool for stop managing Steve Harvey. So people will tell you you're a fool. I embrace that because that's what life is about. Challenging you to do something that people tell you you're not supposed to do. You have to realize that one day when you wake up, Tom, that it has to be about you. It really has. It's not about who you're married to. It's not about who you're dating. It's not about your kids. It's about you. And if you realize that, you will be successful. Because if all your success is about being positive and that you're not driven by selfish modes or selfish gains, then everybody will win. I feel that most people are staying at jobs or working things, or even marriage or relationships, because they fear change. Can I do better? Can I get a better opportunity? Will somebody hire me? Will somebody date me? Will somebody marry me? Will somebody want my kids that I have? People, when they don't want to make adjustments because they've already told themselves they can't do it. If you're about to make a change in your life and you feel uncomfortable, that's the best feeling you can have. Because for the first time in your life, you're making a decision that's going to be best for you and not what somebody told you to do. And that's when all bets are off, man, because you're about to enter some uncharted waters that's going to force you to challenge yourself to be perfect. It was a turning point for me in my life because it let me truly understand how short life is, and also truly enabled me to understand the value of taking advantage of what life is giving you to do. And that's why I always push people. I push myself, because I know I've seen it. I've seen death. I've seen people, children. I've seen adults. I've seen senior citizens. I've seen people who were happy one day and weren't there the next day. If you want to be successful, you have to write down why you want to be successful. Because a lot of people might say, I want to do it for money. I want to do it for passion. I want to do it for cause. That why will determine the steps that you have to put in place to be successful. And shooting for perfection is all good. You don't shoot for average, because you're not gonna hit all the time. If you shoot for perfection and you hit good or great, then you're winning. Don't ever shoot for average. I just try to get people to understand, don't be average. When you want to do something in your life, you don't put options out there. You don't put a B plan. You this is what you want to do. You commit to it. You and anybody watching this show, drive around. Start setting your goals. Because see, if you start setting your goals, then you have dreams. If you have dreams, then guess what? It brings on expectations. Those expectations can only be reached by proper planning. If you plan, you will win. I don't care. Yeah, you're going to have setbacks, but you got to plan. That's what everybody's supposed to do a certain thing, but they don't want to do it. Let somebody else tell you what you cannot do. But in the process of that, prepare for success. In other words, are you willing to put time in your next move? And a lot of people say things like, I'm not a morning person. I don't really know what that means. I really don't. I have 24 hours in the day. I try to take advantage of every hour. And I have certain rules that I initially tell people on a regular basis. If you want to start living a successful life, start locking into a consistent time that you should get up every day. Don't let it deviate. If you say get up at 8 o'clock, don't hit that snooze and get up at 8:30. I get up at 4:30. That's just my time. I'm not a happy guy getting up, but that's a goal I set. And I'm gonna just tell you this honestly. If you keep it simple, you can find your voice. And also know that you operate off short-term goals. When you don't know where you're going in life, do not look 4 years down the line. Do not look 2 years or a year. You look next week, next month. You keep your goals short. And that way, as you accomplish those goals, then you can start piling up little trophies or little moments to know that you're actually accomplishing something. You're actually climbing the steps to success. When people make the mistake in their goals, they put a like say, not so insurmountable goal, but a goal that doesn't allow them to qualify success quick enough. And so I always tell people, shorten your goals, shorten your window, and that's how you find your voice. You cannot find your voice if you're if you say, I'm gonna come into Hollywood and be a star. Okay, well, you might want to work at Home Depot first. And then grab that check, get stable, and start creating relationships, start taking the acting class. See, those are goals that you can achieve. But if you come in here just to be a star in entertainment, or you going to college and you trying to graduate in 4 years, and what you're going to do? It confuses people. That's why a lot of today's millennials, they see short-term success as a faster way of finding their voice versus a college degree. That's when I discovered that you got to have a team. And so I built a team around him. And when I stopped managing him, I was trying to figure out who Rashawn was by myself. And that's terrible, because you got to have people around you that tell you you're great, got to remind you you're special, got to remind you who you are and what you've accomplished. Because it's a general take is that as you build your life, you kind of narrow your accomplishment. In fact, you kind of throw away your successes. And so that's why it's important to have people in your life that are there to pump you up, to tell you, no, you've never done it that way like that before. You're committed to a certain plan of opportunity. Rashad, you shouldn't do it that way. You got to have a team to remind you of what you can do and what you've done.
I am a nice guy until somebody starts complaining to me about how hard they have it. And I have to tell you, nothing pisses me off more than people that complain. Or people that have this feeling that life owes them something.
Generally, a complainer is a person who doesn't take responsibility for their own action. A complainer is someone who would always talk about why they failed instead of how to succeed. Now, there's one simple reason why it's never ever okay to complain, and that is there's always someone that has it worse than you do.
And you actually think that we're living in the best time ever right now?
Because we are.
Yeah.
People are healthier, we're happier, we're richer, there's more abundance. Mm-hmm. Is there genocide? Yes. Is there racism? Yes. Sexism? Yes. Crooks? Yes. Just less.
Yeah.
And so like propaganda on television tells us it's bad. Mm-hmm. It's just not being backed up by the data.
Yeah.
Like go ask all your most badass professional women about their jobs and careers, and then go talk to their great grandmothers. Just tell me who had it worse. Like people don't, these youngsters don't get it.
Yeah.
Like I'm unbelievably struggling with people complaining. I keep bringing up this one example because I saw it happen and just hit me. Like people literally are complaining about the wrong milk being put in their $6 coffee.
I turn on my computer, I go to a news site, and the first story I read is about migrants from Myanmar that are stuck on a boat, stranded, because the Thai government won't let them into port. These are people just like you and me, and they're literally starving to death, and this is right now. I don't mean to be so extreme, but these are the things that I remind myself of anytime I want to complain or bitch about something in my life. You realize that there are people just like you and me who at this very moment are truly facing things we're lucky enough to go our entire lives without ever having to experience.
Here's the belief I'd like you to try on. I don't need an excuse to feel good. What if I don't need an excuse to feel good? I can just feel good for no good reason. Now notice when I first said it, you guys are kind of quiet, processing it. Like, I don't need a reason to feel good? Oh, how do I know to feel good? Some people see that sounds really naive. Really, most people don't need a reason to feel bad. How's it going? Feel like crap. How come? Woke up. And people go, I understand. What if you went to somebody and said, how's it going? They go, I feel so great. How come? I don't know, I just feel good. You go, take that guy to the psychiatrist. Right? They're manic, they're crazy. But somebody else who's depressed and angry and frustrated, you think that's totally normal. That's the cultural hypnosis that we've all been in, no matter what country we live in. If I take whatever you call your stress and I follow the lead of stress, it will take me to your deepest fear. So most people don't want to feel the fear that they're not enough, not smart enough, strong enough, fast enough, rich enough, funny enough, handsome enough, beautiful enough, playful enough, something enough. We all hate that feeling. So we come up with a story about how bad it is, and it's not our what? our what? It's not our fault.
There are days, like everybody in this room, there are days where I see overbearing difficulty. There are days where I see more no than I see yes. There are days where I see harder things than I see opportunities, but it doesn't last that long. You know, it's not about eliminating that stuff out of your life. It's working through it and keeping going.
I have come to realize that there are two, and only two types of people. Those who complain and those who accomplish. And the more you bitch and complain, the less you accomplish. Sitting around and complaining about the past will not improve your future. You've got two options. What type of person do you want to be? You want to be a complainer, or do you want to be an accomplisher?
And by the way, do not get confused here. You have to work to match the ambition coming out of your mouth. This is not about working 15 hours a day. You got family, you got other interests. You do you. You have to figure out what you're trying to achieve and what you want, and then you need to put in the work that maps to that ambition.
What is the deepest and most painful loss you have ever experienced? A loss of a job, loss of a house, loss of health, or loss of a beloved one. Did you get over that loss? Or are you still holding on to it?
I can't get out. I can't get out. I can't get up. I can't change. You'd be surprised at the people in this room who come to church every Sunday, and by limited thinking, they have decided, I can't change. All I am is all I'm ever going to be. This is how I am. This is how it is. This is my reality. I was watching TV some time ago, and they were interviewing a young man on the south side of Chicago. And he was talking about how horrendous it was to live where he lived. He talked about the shooting and the killing and the mugging and the raping and the destruction. And the woman asked him, why don't you leave? He said, I can't get out. What are these invisible walls that encapsulate us in prisons, and then we indoctrinate ourselves with, I can't get out. I can't get up. I can't go forward. I can't live on. I can't survive. Invisible walls of incarceration will lock you up and cause you to have limited thinking and make you accept circumstances. Anything you adjust to, you will not fight out of. If you adjust to it, you own it. You accept it. It becomes yours. And you tell yourself, maybe this is all God wants me to have. At least it's better than where I started. Everybody's not supposed to be in the air. Somebody's got to be on the ground. Don't forget where you came from. I get so hot when people tell me, don't forget where you came from. I have no problem remembering where I came from. The thing I'm trying not to forget is where I'm going. Yeah, that's what I'm trying not to forget. I'm trying not to forget that there is something beyond where I am right now. There is something beyond what holds me right now. There is something beyond what bothers me right now. There is something beyond what worries me right now. There's something beyond. Sometimes God will let you go through some hard things, toughen you up in places you didn't want to be tough, but he's getting you ready for the next thing. And if you didn't survive the thing that you've gone through, you wouldn't be tough enough to survive what's next. That's why whenever the enemy comes against me, I always read him my resume. This is not it. It is not it. It is not who I am. It's where I am. It's not who I am. And before it's over, I'm going to show you who I am, because I'm coming out of this. You have to be radical. You have to be tenacious. And sometimes you have to talk to things that look like it cannot hear, just so that you can hear yourself say, this is not it. This report card is not it. This life you're living is not it. This circumstance you're in is not it. This crazy marriage is not it. This fighting my way out of my own house is not it. I'm a better woman than that. I'm a better man than that. I'm a better daddy than that. I'm a better husband than that. This is not it. You are never more alive than you are when you are in your scary place. Your head is never as clear as it is when you're in your scary place. Your strength is never as strong as it is when you're in your scary place. The place that won't let you sleep good at night. The place of uncertainty and insecurity, that is the place where you find your wings. Not hers, yours. Not theirs, yours. Not his, yours. There is always something just beyond your scary place that will make you realize that had you not confronted the thing that scares you, you would have never found your wings. I don't care whatever else you find in life. I don't care whoever else you admire or how you see them fly. You will never have fulfilled your purpose by finding my wings. You will only fulfill your purpose when you find yours.